What's up everybody? Brian here with Frugal Footprint. Working on this king-size bed frame platform. So today I'm going to be cutting out the drawer faces and the headboard, and I'll be sanding those down and staining them as well, so that way we can install those drawer faces and the headboard once the stain dries in a few days here. So what I have set up behind me is another one of these 1/2-inch plywood sheets. Using the same technique as I did before, I have a fence set up, and I'm going to use my jigsaw just to zip it the long way, and then that'll turn into the 6 different drawer faces. So here we go. Alright, so there it is, and then we're just gonna cut it down this way a bunch, and we'll have all our drawer faces. So I found out yesterday when I was cutting out all the drawer sides and backs and bottoms that I was able to get a pretty straight line without adding a fence on some of these shorter runs, just as long as, you know, I have a straight line here to follow. And it's mostly just those really long runs where, you know, you're kind of reaching way out that having a fence is really important. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of freehand all of these, and we're going to have our 6 drawer faces in a minute here. One down, not too shabby. Six drawer faces done. Now I'm moving on to cutting out the headboard. Alright, so now I'm moving on to cutting out the headboard frame. I have to cut that into 2 4-inch strips. So, and that's a long run to do with the jigsaw without really having any way to hold it to the table. I could try and clamp it, but luckily my neighbor had this table saw. He just stopped by and said, "Hey, you need a table saw?" So he lent it out to me, and I'm going to be using this to cut these really long pieces, which is going to be great because I know they'll be super square and super straight, and it'll be a whole lot safer. So here we go. Awesome, yeah. Smells really good. It smells like s'mores. Just got one more just like it, and then I'll be moving on to the side braces for the headboard, and also the piece of plywood that will sit inside there. Alright, so those are all the pieces that are going to frame up the headboard. They're all 4 inches, except for these ones are 3.5, so they're going to sit on the inside. The face of it, the face of the headboard goes on this side, and these are just to brace it on the inside. And then these 2 go on the outside, and what I'm going to do is actually cut this at a 45-degree angle with the miter saw, just to give it a nice detail. And then I'll do the same thing on the outside here, so that way it comes together at an angle instead of just a square, because inside of plywood it has this. And it looks really cool when it comes together at a 45-degree angle as opposed to just one sitting on the top of the other one. Alright, so here you can see what I was talking about when this comes together. We'll get that really nice detail on the corner of the headboard. Alright, so to assemble the headboard frame, I'm actually just going to be using these finishing nails that I used on the drawers. I had originally intended on using pocket holes, same with the drawers, but they just didn't seem to work out all that well for this plywood. So the nice thing is these finishing nails really just blend in as soon as it's stained, so you can't really even tell that they're there, so it'll work out just fine. Alright, so there's the headboard frame. You can see I actually cut out a couple 2x4s just to help give it a little extra support there. And I'm going to cut out the face, and that's going to sit right down in here. Yeah, it fits like a glove. So there's the headboard. So now I'm gonna sand down all the rough edges on these and the drawer faces and stain them. And then in a couple days when the stain dries, we'll be able to finish everything up. And there's all the offcuts from 4 sheets of plywood. Not too shabby. There's a couple extra pieces in there that you can get a whole nother drawer face out of there, or some sides if you mess up. This long one could probably be another top of the frame or bottom of the headboard frame. So there's a little bit of leeway, but not a ton. What's up, everybody? So next up I'm going to be installing hardware on our drawer faces. It might be a little bit different for you depending on what type of hardware you pick out, but the idea is the same. You just find the center of the drawer face and then you pre-drill your holes and you attach the hardware. It's pretty straightforward, so let's get to it. Yeah, and there you have it. So I just have 5 more to go and then we'll be done with all the drawer handles. Alright, so now I'm adding the drawer faces. I have one done here. Pretty slick. So what I've done is I'm just using these shims so that way it floats here. And you can see we have the pocket holes here. Just, yeah, lining it up so it floats just slightly above and around, and then we drill in the pocket hole screws and it attaches the face, and then easy as that. Alright, so we have the headboard in place. As you can see behind here, I didn't stain the back of it, and then basically I just need to line it up, and then I'll be just using some deck screws to screw it in place down into the frame. Alright, so screws there. 8 screws in there, and it is super sturdy. I can't move it, so yeah, that's gonna work out really nicely. Yeah, and there we have it. Alright, thanks for joining me on this journey of our DIY king-size bed frame platform with the 6 drawers underneath. The entire build came in at $389, which isn't too shabby considering it's really sturdy, it's going to last us a long time, has some built-in storage, and compared to some of the flimsy things you can get online for a lot more expensive, it wasn't too hard. All in all, it was about 5 days of work. That was like 3 decent sized, 6-hour build days, and then a couple days with letting the stain dry and just a couple fiddly things with slider hardware and all of that. I did want to mention, if you wanted to do this for less money and in less time, you could always leave out the drawers and just use the frame and the platform, and that would come in just above $250. And if you wanted to skip the headboard, you could actually do the platform out of 2 sheets of plywood, so you just have those 6 Douglas fir timbers, the 2x12s, and then 2 sheets of plywood. and that would come in just above $200. So you could leave the wood completely exposed instead of staining it. That would save, you know, $7 or $8 per quart of stain. I ended up using 2.5 quarts of stain on this. So go to frugalfootprint.com and you can get your copy of the designs, and then you can just edit them and modify them from there to whatever your needs are. So go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments below, and hit that like button and subscribe for more videos, and yeah, share the video if you think that there's somebody else who might find it useful. That's all I have for now. Thanks for watching Frugal Footprint, and I will see you on the next video.